Hi, Jonathan. Thank you so much for your week 3 poems. And I appreciate you uploading them here so that I could have a little bit of an easier time giving you this feedback. So thank you. Um, I want to say that this poem for prompt 1, the Poetry Spy prompt, is the first poem that you've submitted that feels really complete, that feels long enough, that feels like you've really dug in and explored and pushed yourself a little bit farther with the idea that you started with. And so I just want to say, really nice job. I know that to the second poem, you said, how can I make this longer? This is something that I struggle with. So we'll address that with the second one. But I just want to give you a virtual high five here and say nice work, because it feels like you really took this a little bit farther than you have the last 2 weeks. So nice work. I think in terms of moving forward with this poem, so now that you have what feels like 4 complete stanzas here, I think what you could do now is you can go in and you can start to pull out any words that feel extra. So the point of writing a longer draft with draft 1 is the opportunity for you to go in for the second draft and pull out what feels like might be masking the really juicy details that you want to highlight. So, for example, in the first stanza, this would be my suggestions. At the bookstore, there are countless discussions. I like this book. I don't like this book. I'll give this book a try. I really like the rhythm of I like this book. I don't like this book. I'll give this book a try. I would recommend ending each of these 3 lines in a period. I think that will help with the rhythm, but I don't think there's any sort of extra words here in these 3 lines. However, in this first line, at the bookstore, there are countless discussions. It feels like a complete sentence that is starting off the poem, and it feels like you're writing into the poem. And so my suggestion would be, in terms of culling, in terms of redacting this poem, is either getting rid of that first line altogether and just starting, I like this book, I don't like this book, I'll give this book a try, or shortening that first line to either at the bookstore or countless discussions. Do you see what I mean? How it feels like a little bit extra? It sort of interrupts the rhythm of the next 3 lines. And then you can do that and use those ideas on the next 3 stanzas as well. That would be my recommendation in terms of edits. I think it's great to have a conversation in a poem that talks about pop culture. Absolutely. There's no wrong or right content for a poem, and if anybody tells you otherwise, they don't know what they're talking about. And I do think that you've got details in here that show the importance. Okay, so the second one, the repetition poem. How can you make this longer? I feel like I recognize the repetition of he can't, he can, he will, he can't, he will, he will, he will, he will. So it seems like by the second stanza, you've decided to use, or something has guided you towards using, the simple repetition of he will, he will, he will, he will. And so what I'd like you to do with the rewrite is to go back and adapt this poem so that every single first line, the beginning of each line, starts with he will or he will not. He will or he will not. And I think what you need to do is maybe take a piece of paper. I'm wondering if you ever do some handwriting to start off your poems or your ideas. If you haven't before, that would be my recommendation. Take a pen and a piece of paper, scrap paper, and just do some brainstorming. Do some free writing. Think about what it is that you're trying to do with this poem, and then do some brainstorming about not writing the poem, but just doing brainstorming, thinking about some ideas and what you're, write down, I am trying to express this in this poem, and then list those things, and then see how you can then take those notes and incorporate them onto the poetry on the screen. So let me know how that goes for you, okay? I'd be happy to give you additional recommendations if you need them. Just let me know. Hope you're doing well.